Brand new day, dawn. It's the elimination day over at Pinnacle Cup #2, and we will be starting things off with Young Ninjas versus Copenhagen Flames. It's a massive day of teams trying to progress to the playoffs, but also in danger of being eliminated from the tournament. My name is X-Warrior, and by my side is the wonderful Wild Deity. And due to the fact that these matches are so exciting, that there's so much on the line, how do you sort of feel about this whole endeavor today?
Young Ninjas versus Copenhagen Flames. This is a match that I've really wanted to watch. And the reason for that is because both of these teams are on a very hot streak. So where recently we've been looking at a lot of games where teams have been on a downturn. So, you know, it has sort of been creating win conditions. But right now, these are two teams that are looking very hot.
Absolutely, and as you can see, we've already seen a lot of teams qualify, but at the same time, at the bottom of the spectrum, we've seen teams like Lingby Vikings, Argo, DBL Pyrone, 100 Ping Gods, and Team 1 get knocked out already. But at the top of the leaderboard, Endpoint and Sinners going 3-0 at the start of the Swiss stage, and followed quickly by Mouse and XT and Skade. And now we've got a few left in the standoff, right? 6 teams, 3 matches that will collect which the 3 out of the 6 will be able to qualify forwards. And it's quite a surprising we've got strong teams like Entropic and Harvu still battling it out.
Absolutely, but I think we need to get to the meat and potatoes of this game, right? Because Young Ninjas versus Copenhagen Flames, I think we should get into Young Ninjas here first. It's the fact that recently they've been on an absolute wild run, you know, beating out MIBR, Ambush, Kova, Pack. They did have a bit of a fall to Mouse and XT, but that is to be expected. But on the other hand, when you look at Copenhagen Flames, they have a very similar streak as well. I mean, right now, they've only lost 1 map in the past 10 maps they've played, and they have been pretty respectable teams. Ago is Akabors, X Marlin, 100 PG. So when you're looking at 2 teams that are having lights out performances and teams that are performing in a way that is not reflective of their current HLTV ranking at all, then that's the makings of a really spicy matchup. You see, when a lot of viewers look at it from the outside, they just look at the rankings, they just look at the stats here and there. But the fact is that the eye test is completely different for Young Ninjas right now, because Fizzy has been on an absolute roll. He's been performing incredibly well with the AWP. You know that Rolf and Sapik, they've been staple riflers. ZTR has been coming in clutch in many of the situations, and Nilo is an overall amazing performer. So for Young Ninjas to be on that rank number 51 right now, I don't particularly think it really does them justice, and that's exactly what we might get to see on the server.
Absolutely, and of course, as we watch one team kind of closely, Young Ninjas, the young lot of this whole endeavor, looking to meet Mouse and XD from the academy teams to kind of progress forwards. We've also got the other side of the spectrum, right? Copenhagen Flames, who they sort of struggled in the past few months with those roster changes, mainly in May. It's already mid-June, man. It's so fast that
mid-June,
time goes by. It's already mid-June. Oh, July? Yeah, July. Oh, dear. Wow,
oh, no.
It's even further than I thought. I've lost a month of my own time. But yeah, as you can see, these guys are looking crazy, right? They've had some reasonable results so far in the Swiss stage, taking 100 Ping Gods and Argo in a 2-1 and 2-0 fashion, respectively, and understandably at the start, lost to Endpoint and Harvey. So these guys have kind of been an elimination sort of standpoint for the past 2 or 3 matches they've had in the Pinnacle series, and they've had to persevere. So I'd go as far as call them the finisher, because every time they played for the past 2 matches here in the Swiss stage, they've had to sort of annihilate another team and knock them out of this tournament, and they've done that, right? 100 Ping Gods, they've got knocked out by Copenhagen Flames. Argo, the same thing happened to them. So yeah, the finisher is sort of what I kind of dubbed these guys, what I'd nicknamed them, and I wonder if they can sort of do the same to Young Ninjas today.
Yeah, and it's got to be a bit of a scary prospect, right? If you're looking at Young Ninjas, you're like, oh, okay, so this is a team that is knocking people out left and right. You know, the Grim Reaper knocking at doors, just waiting outside with a scythe. And it's been a pretty convincing fashion the way they've done it. I mean, you mentioned 100 PG and Ago. It was 2-1 and 2-0. And it's not even like the score lines were particularly that close. I mean, at some point, Copenhagen Flames, they beat out 100 PG 16-4. On Ancient. So, you know, it's not just like they're making it a very competitive affair and that these are super duper close games that they're somehow coming out on top of. No, they're making it look decisive. I mean, Copenhagen Flames, they're no strangers to winning out big tournaments. So I want to see how this rolls out. Maybe Young Ninjas can, maybe the third time can be the charm, and Young Ninjas can deny the Grim Reaper a drop of blood on his scythe. Who knows?
Maybe Young Ninjas will have the chance to do just that. But let's head into the veto to see exactly how this best of 3 will ensue, what maps will be at play, which will be banned, because I think it really comes down to that in these tier 2 in this tier 2 scene. This veto will be exactly what we'll be looking for, right? So many maps in here have been played by these two teams so far on the Swiss stage. Of course, there are some that don't really come to surprise, like the Vertigo ban and Inferno being taken out from Copenhagen Flames, knowing that they're not too big fans of that map recently. Actually, it does come sort of a surprise, but I think it's due to the fact that Young Ninjas is just too darn good on it. Of course, we do see Mirage and Nuke coming right out. Mirage being the Young Ninjas' map, Nuke being the Copenhagen Flames' map, and Overpass as the side as Ancient and Dust 2 have been banned.
Yeah, this is a bit of a counter pick, or rather a counter play by Copenhagen Flames. The reason they've banned out Inferno is not because they themselves don't feel confident on it. In fact, they have decent results. But it's the fact that Young Ninjas are pretty meshed, and they have a lot more experience in the past 3 months. So there's no reason for them to allow Young Ninjas to get away with the potential of Inferno. But what that does leave wide open is one of the weaknesses of the Copenhagen Flame squad. It's Mirage. It's something that they have been heavily struggling on. I mean, if you look at their past results, they've lost to Havu, Entropique, they've lost to Skade, they've lost to Fiend. So even though they do manage to keep it somewhat competitive as far as the score lines are concerned, it's never really convincing enough to make them feel comfortable on Mirage. They do get that side advantage, of course, starting on the CT, but I think we should head on over to Nuke now, because Copenhagen Flames, they have a much better result than Young Ninjas on it. I mean, they have been coming out on top more often, so I do think that maps number 2 and 3, Nuke and Overpass, they favor the Flames a fair bit. But Young Ninjas, they have a chance to start things off popping, you know, just go lights out with that first map, build up a lot of momentum, and then try to worry about everything else.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see how this match will ensue, because Mirage, well, we hope Copenhagen Flames are prepared for it as they did ban out Inferno, but let's head right into the game to see how the action comes out.
Absolutely. Seems like we're already starting off with a technical pause. Okay, never mind. That was
never mind. Yeah,
never mind. False alarm. False alarm.
Yeah, but we see the Pinnacle odds as well. Copenhagen Flames seem to be favored, as they have been the finisher so far in this Swiss stage. 1.3 to 3.5 odds, or around that mark, unless I didn't read the numbers correctly. But it's roughly around that area, and I think it's fairly reasonable to see, especially considering the map pool currently. Though the Mirage map is where Young Ninjas can shine, where they can head into the map
Pavlos.
with that information.
Right in.
Ooh, yeah, they're going right into the A site, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they've got a flashbang and a smoke primed up. Thrown out for connector. Nikodas not hitting his initial shots. Roage, he hasn't revealed his scars just yet. Wants to peek wide. The flash will be the cover that prevents him from participating. But now this is where he's shown his draw. He gets away with 2, but then he gets dispatched. Huxi comes in, takes a kill on Fizzy, and Yabby's been put in the grave as well. It comes down to a 2v2, and this will be competitive.
It might as well be Zyphon 1v2. Let him see as he does cross forwards onto the site as well. 2 different angles. Oh, this is going to be tough. 1 in 5 box as well. ZTR can spend his time to hide away, but it's actually just Sapik to deal with him. And a simple endeavor coming out from the young Swedes, as it's a 1-0 start for them on their own map pick.
And Young Ninjas, they needed that initial round. You know that they want to start things off very hot on Mirage. If they want to have an opportunity to close it out on Copenhagen Flames. Let's see how this initial setup works for the Young Ninja side. They send up 2 on mid, 1 in apartments. Taking things very slow, even having an additional player in T-spawn to make sure that any of the flanks won't come in. But the Flames, they are holding on to hand cannons. That's not something you can just waltz past. There will always be the threat of 1Ds looming around the corner. And I think this is the part where Young Ninjas start to make a decision. They've recovered the bomb. They're all gathering on mid. And with a player being in B apartments as a distraction, this is where they want to move up short.
Does seem like that's the case. Copenhagen Flames sort of have a good read here. Mirage as well. Ooh, the smoke won't allow him to see the cross come out. One shot does connect from Fizzy, make that 2. Dakota's actually holding down that scout, but it's a peek from Rolf to give him the kill. Hooksy and Zyphon both chime in for a kills. And for that reason, they do keep the numbers as well. Zyphon holding strong to his own guns, and Young Ninjas, they're struggling to find an entry. ZTR trying to find that sideline, but Sapik is the one to bring on the front force of this endeavor. Finds the corner for him to gain cover. ZTR does reposition, but eventually Sapik has to fall. Bomb goes down, but it's a 1v2. 2 Deagles versus a Galil. How does this get played out? Flash out, trying to spot one of these players. That's a perfect flash. Rueros can't do anything about it. Now he's dwindled it down to one-on-one. Yabi peeks on through, and there you have it. ZTR gets the clutch and gives Young Ninjas their second win of the map.
That's an incredible save by ZTR to bring it down to the 2v1 and still close it out, but it's a bit concerning if you're on the Young Ninja squad, because now you have to look at many rebuys. They do get the cash registers out, they have the Mac 10, so that will help them build up their economy a fair bit. It did get pretty dicey there, didn't it, Pavlos? Because I don't think the Flames should have been allowed that kind of opportunity at all, but let's see if the Flames can get away with anything with just a flashbang and a couple P250s. They are being watched, however, and just the right timing could mean that they get away with a kill. Young Ninjas, oh no, they could have been overwhelmed here. Sapik playing a bit of an anti-flash spot does mean that he allows his team to get away largely unscathed. Roge has been pretty good from that triple box position, and this should mostly be a throwaway round.
Yeah, it should, shouldn't it? Sort of where Copenhagen Flames can try and chime in with kills, a couple of kills here and there. Nilo, surprisingly enough, he's barely standing. He's only got 1 point of health.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. That's the caster's curse, isn't it? Straight out of the bat. Didn't take me long, did it? It's 3 rounds in, and I'm already causing troubles to the Young Ninjas side. But no, 3-0 start for them nonetheless, and the pistol follow-up has worked up nicely for them.
Yeah, it's very interesting when the caster's curse is very quick. Just immediately hits the enemy team.
You know what, though, for us, if it's an early kick for the caster's curse, then maybe there's none left for later on in the match.
Huh. But that would imply that there's a limited pool of resources as far as the caster's curse is concerned, and if you look at my track record of never getting the right predictions, I think that's a theory that we can already discount. That hypothesis has been rendered void and null.
That depends, though, because you do it every 1 match, but we're heading into a bye round here, and this is where things get slightly dicey. Roge making some movement onto the connector side, but Young Ninjas are heading right into the B site. Roge does spot them out. Damage inflicted, can't quite find the closer. Eventually does get it. Scopes in onto the apartment side, but Nilo's just too darn quick on the trigger. They do get themselves on the B site. Nilo will get that bomb down, and they even have the numbers advantage to say for it.
This is already a massively explosive performance from Young Ninjas, starting off the game. You would expect a much slower round, and maybe that's what Copenhagen Flames were anticipating as well. They didn't expect anything to come out in the first, before that timer hit the 1-minute mark, but it did. Young Ninjas exploding onto the B bomb site. They made that look so easy, but the one saving grace for the Flames is the idea that they still get away with a couple M4s. They have the sniper tucked away into their back pockets, so maybe not their back pockets, just latched onto their back like a guitar in reverse, who knows? Or a backpack. Huh. But regardless, Young Ninjas, they started off pretty strong, 4-0.
Four and 0, as mentioned. Surprisingly enough, there is still some remnants, I guess, in their opponents' bank accounts. Therefore, there's a buy coming out for them. AWP at play as well. Oh, yeah, that makes sense now. They did push through though. Young Ninjas looking for some early mid control, but apart from that, it's going to be a simple setup for them. Not really dedicating any power towards the A site, which does indicate they want to go strong here in mid.
Yeah, they wanted to have Roge turn up on short so that he could use the advantage of the boost, but Roge, he's quickly picked up a kill in connector. That's Hooksy also adding one more to the tally before the T's can really make too much of a dent. That's the advantage being given up, but ZTR, he can still recover, gets caught with his pants down, and Roge will be there to secure. Nilo, now in a 1v3 and with no bomb available. It's going to be a task and a half to make any sort of a scratch. I don't think he even gets a voice in here, but let's see. up against an AWP. That's the first kill being secured now within the realms of possibility. Inching closer and closer to that potential of a 5-0. And one lucky thing here is the fact that he's up against an AWP, so maybe that works out in his favor. Oh no, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, not anticipating Yabi's position there was his downfall. That puts Copenhagen Flames now on the board. 1-4, keeping close. And the odds have stayed pretty much the same, haven't they? 1.3 to 3.5, something like that. That's been the case across the board so far. Sort of expected that the Young Ninjas would be able to capitalize on the first pistol round victory and turn that into momentum. But quickly shut down here from the Flames. The Danes do stick in it. And this Scandinavian standoff seems already to be on track to how we expected it to be, a very close endeavor.
That brings my attention to how Copenhagen Flames were able to win that round. If they hadn't gotten a save in the previous round, they simply wouldn't have had the funds to be able to come up with a round like that. So I suppose that saving grace did come through there at the end.
Oh, look at the smoke fade out though. Xiphon is made his way all the way up from Catwalk, and at the same time there's some lower tunnel movement coming in from Young Ninjas. It's all a matter of timing. You've got that one player, Mirage, sort of holding down that angle. It's actually a boost to come through from the Young Ninjas side. But Xiphon, he hasn't been spotted yet. ZTI is low as well. Xiphon, it's all up to timing. Smoke out. How is that going to help out? Ooh, Sapek wins out onto Xiphon, but Roesh holds his ground towards Connector. The top mid fight doesn't work out for Copenhagen Flames, and neither will the Connector play. For that reason, Young Ninjas have got this own map that they can work around with, and they can go wherever they may please.
You can see the seeds of confusion being sown in the minds of Copenhagen Flames because they've sent 2 players on the B bomb site, and the bomb will be making its way towards A. So only one defender is what they'll have to deal with in the form of Yabi, who's holding on to an AK-47 from Ticket Boot. So just one smoke or a Molotov could entirely neutralize him, and I think he'll be receiving the latter, narrowly avoiding the Flames. See if the Young Ninjas can actually get the bomb down. Yabi, I like that attention to detail. Rolf knows that there's a possibility of him sneaking around the Flames. Hooksy, now that he's gotten a frag, he knows that there's no chance that they get the retake, or at least it's going to be too hard to make it a fair contest. So they want to back off with their weapons, live to see another day.
It's interesting to see Young Ninjas bounce back that quickly, right? I really like the attempt from Copenhagen Flames to switch things up towards mid. Allure their opponents. Guess go for something different, really. Catch them off guard. Didn't quite work out, though, did it? Especially with Xiphon falling at the start. It meant that Roesh was really all by himself when it came to those mid trades. There was no reinforcements towards Connector because that was where Xiphon was holding out. Towards short, excuse me. And for that reason, I guess they fell victims to their own sort of tactic. Young Ninjas were able to capitalize on it, win out on their trades, and now they head into the next round 5-1, and there's a timeout to tell for it as well. Copenhagen Flames don't know they're under pressure.
It's also very strange that they already start things off with such a deficit, but I guess it shouldn't really come as too much of a surprise because Mirage has sort of been their Achilles heel, and the Young Ninjas would be happy to capitalize on that instance. And that's one of the disadvantages of going for Inferno as a first man. You leave Mirage wide open. So it does raise a question mark as to why the Flames wouldn't end up banning Mirage, but maybe they've got something under their sleeve that we don't know about.
Oh, maybe they do. But maybe if you guys have got something up your sleeve, as in you know or sort of have an idea of who will be winning this matchup, you can go ahead and bet on it over at pinnacle.com/odds. But you can also get a €10 bonus upon your first €10 bet in esports. So that's basically for money. But you have to use the code CUP21 upon sign up and be your first user, of course. And there are some terms and conditions that do apply as well. Look at the movement from ZTR, though. He's moving right up towards Connector. I mean, Catwalk. Wow, I've confused the two all day today.
Oh no, Roge, he's gonna get caught. Doesn't even get a chance to contest, and ZTR with a sick flick onto the head of Hooksy. That's already the round falling apart for the Flames, but this time they're leaving no prisoners. They want to make sure that the next one's going to be a comfortable round. Sapek picks up one. It's just Nikodas remaining, and now he's telegraphed his position. As the smoke is fading, he shouldn't have the advantage, and Fizzy gets away with it. Young Ninjas. What a stellar performance already.
It's looking grand, isn't it? That was sort of Copenhagen Flames' last frontier before they went in for an eco round, and Young Ninjas managed to make it work. It was a desperate round from the Danes, right? That was right after their tactical timeout, where they've already considered what their tactic would be heading into the next round. But it doesn't quite work out. ZTR wins his individual duels, opens up the B site completely for his teammates to move across that apartment side, and it was just simple pickings from there on forwards.
The Flames, it's becoming a bit of a question mark for them. Already giving up a 5-round lead to the Ninjas, and keep in mind, they're on the more advantageous side. And yes, I understand that the T side can often start to snowball rounds together, but this is already getting into dangerous territory, and because one more round to the tally and Young Ninjas are within 1 round of contesting for a halftime victory on the T side. A flashbang and a smoke to make sure that the rotations won't be coming out. Maybe sow the seeds of doubt. Make the Flames think that most of the attention will be on the A side, but the Flames, they're reacting in a way where they're anticipating an entire B push, but now that Hooksy's cleared it out, I think they should know.
Smoke's out now, and I think the Flames now realize of this whole situation. Young Ninjas will start to unfold towards the site. ZTR sneaking himself into that connect angle. That's a massive position to sort of hold, because surely how do you expect that angle to be taken? As I do see that, Hooksy manages to put a bullet straight through his eyes, and Nilo does capitalize onto Zyphon. 3v4 as a rifle has been pinked up by Hooksy, but the bomb goes down and damage is still being inflicted by Naze. Copenhagen Flames have got a real situation here. They could also find some extra pieces of damage. Sapik, so sneaky in his corner. Flash out, peeks away just in time. Well coordinated from the Young Ninjas side, and that will delay the push from Connector. Holding things through. Fizzy as well wins on his own occasion, and Young Ninjas, it could have been more dicier than that, but they're able to make it work. 6-1 and only lose 1 player throughout the process.
I would have actually preferred if the Flames went for a full man save instead, and the reason for that is that they had armor. You can do a lot off of it. That would potentially mean that they get away with guns without having to invest $1,000 on each of the players, and that could be the difference between an additional gun round. Not the decision that the Flames take, though, and you can see the odds start get skewed a bit more in the favor of the Young Ninja squad now that they're showing us the stellar performance. I mean, it's no surprises. The viewers obviously are Pinnacle bettors. Now they can see the signs of life that are turning up to the server, but do keep in mind that this is Young Ninja's map pick.
So far, I think Young Ninjas have been nothing but dominant on this map, haven't they, for us? Definitely difficult to see how the Danes can start bringing things back from this, but the Nays are looking great. Sapik already down to 34 points of health, and Roche will be able to shut down Rolf as they do pickle on forwards. Well, that's a new way to say things. Pickle on forwards. Nilo pickles out Hoxie. Roche does bounce back with a kill of his own, so does Siphon, which it means that they're down to 2v3. Bomb goes down. And Nilo is really, really low, and Yabi may be able to find both of them. Peeks out, can't quite find him. But he eventually finds the finishing blow, which puts Copenhagen Flames now their 2nd round.
This is a much-needed round, and it couldn't come any sooner, because now that the Flames, they can maybe get the ball rolling. They also have an additional AWP saved up, so this is where they can throw the Young Ninjas a curveball. And because the rounds haven't been entirely in the favor of the Ninja side, you know, they've had a few casualties here and there. Their money is still within breakability. It's not like they're just sitting on this pile of gold that will never be contested at all. No, that's not the case at all. The Flames still have a very genuine chance at bringing it right back. And you can see the Young Ninjas, they're still very, very focused, looking to not make any mistakes.
Man, it's just crazy to me how well these guys are performing at such a young age. Nilo, as you see on your screens, I mean, the average age of these guys is not even 18 years old. It's 17.8. They're amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when I was 17, I was struggling in those MG ranks, so,
Goes to show that there's a lot of potential here.
Pavlos at 20. Gold Nova rolling his eyes. But hold that thought because ETR, he's moving right in. Zyphon wins out on that first duel, and that's the opening kill for Copenhagen Flame. Sopik, perhaps he might spot ahead here. He did. And Nikodos nearly gets caught out, and had Sopik boosted up on the bench, that would have been an opportunity. Now, peeking into connector, Roj will be caught with his pants down. Sopik and Fizzy are the only two members remaining, but they can still make a dent if they want to. Nikodos could peek around the corner. Fizzy's the last man remaining. Not really much he can do as he gets charged by 4 players, and a nade will actually follow him like a homing missile.
A lot cleaner from the Flames side, for sure. I think it's the sort of round that they've been wanting, right? Something to boost their confidence, at least for their matchup today. Because let's be honest, a 7-1 or 7-2 scoreline isn't that comfortable. 7-3 sort of brings... there's a basis to build up on, right? There's something there for them. And considering that Young Ninjas don't really have too much money to facilitate to buy with, this could really be a good opportunity for the Flames to start bringing things back in their favor.
A solid nade. Zyphon has been a staple of the mid defense for Copenhagen Flames, and it is just going to show in his stats soon. The scoreline slowly inching back, and since this is probably going to be a throwaway round, I don't see it going any other way. The Flames almost guaranteeing themselves a 4th round on the board, and suddenly that initial lead of a 7-1, it's not seeming like a reality anymore. In fact, I think Copenhagen Flames can still run away with it. Being on the CT side, though, they were looking for a much stronger advantage, and that's not a comfort that they will be afforded. Nayla pushing into jungle.
I think Roche knows.
Yeah,
he knows. He checked it.
No surprises.
Yeah, I mean, they left it open, right? So they knew that mid side was contested. So there's only like 2 possibilities that Young Ninjas could go for from that angle without being checked. That was connected and also boosting up towards window. So not really much that the Young Ninjas could do. They only found 1 kill, and I guess what Rolf is doing is trying to use the next 30 seconds to try and find a kill. But considering there's a double up now towards connector, there's not much he can do, and the Flames will be able to close him out without any more damage.
I do like that he still tried to go for a bit of an attempt, though, because any money that you can take out of the hands of the CTs, that it is a massive advantage for the terrorist side. But look at this, Pavlos. The money on the Young Ninja side, it is not looking too great, and it's not even like their loss bonus is maxed out. It's 2,900, 1 round shy from getting to that maxed out mark. If they lose this round, there's no way they have any money in the next one. The Flames, they just need to get through this, and at that point, they basically guarantee themselves a 6, but I might just be getting ahead of myself because they still have Fizzy on the case with his AWP. Moving in from underpass, 2 on top mid, 2 in B apartments. The bomb is still left back, so they're somewhat indecisive about what their final destination is going to be. But as an additional player joins him in underpass, Nilo backing up ZTR, this is where they might want to contest connector. That is some place where Zyphon and Roage have previously played, and that's what they're anticipating.
In need of a clean round, Young Ninjas using 1 front to move towards this B site, taking over Catwalk. Roge inching forwards from the smoke as well. As you can see, apartments is being looked to get taken over from ZTR. Spots him out first, and that's going to be their kill. How they move onwards from here, because Hooksy is all by himself onto the B site. He's the only man that has to defend this site. A lot to ask for, but the slow peek from Fizzy. Oh, the shot will miss, and that could be the opportunity for Young Ninjas to push on forwards. Zyphon will win on his trade across mid, and Hooksy wins out his towards B. Can he hold his line for a lot longer? No. ZTR and Nilo do bring the fire to their opponents, and for that reason, the bomb goes down towards the B site.
The advantage now being taken away as Gabby catches off ZTR, intercepted in short. Fizzy adding 1 to the tally, makes sure that the retake will still be in the favor of the Young Ninjas. And where I was getting away with the idea that maybe Flames put on a 6th round on the board, Young Ninjas will stop it as soon as they get their hands on guns.
And I think the Young Ninjas are thankful that they're working on the T side, therefore, but due to the fact that they have cheaper weapons to buy up with, You know, that this economy would never stand when it came, if they were on the CT side. They remained with 2 players, but they're able to run away with it nicely, right? Only 1 Galil. And it's full utility for ZTR as well, so pretty decent buy from the Young Ninja side.
Zyphon, this time he's not allowed to get up to any of his shenanigans because a flashbang will intercept and he'll be pushed back into connector. The bomb making its way towards the ace site. And I do think this is going to be a much harder take from the Young Ninjas than we've grown accustomed to. I do expect a rush to ensue very soon, especially with ZTR now positioning himself near connector as the smoke starts to fade. If he can get the duel against Zyphon, this is where they move in.
Multiple fronts. Young Ninjas start to move on forwards. ZTR wins 1, but quickly traded back. Mirage, he's got control over stairs. Therefore can freely roam to and from it. Flash out, peeking through. It's a momentum push coming through. Sapik capitalizes on the second as well. As he lines up Mirage, Sapik, 3 kills to his name to give Young Ninjas this site. Nikodos gets 1 before he falls, but that still is around going to the Swedish side.
I really like how Young Ninjas are able to turn the tide by switching up their pace. A lot of teams have a bit of a one-dimensional approach to the game where they either take it down to the last few seconds, they're always very methodical with how they play out the game, or they're going to be super explosive. But that's not the case for Young Ninjas at all. They're happy to throw a wrench in the works, switch everything up, and make sure that the Flames don't have a setup that will be ready for a lot of fast-paced aggression, and I think the Young Ninjas might be doing just the same once again. Lots of audio cues must have been given up on mid, and this is where Young Ninjas, just by moving in quicker, they can get free control of the A bomb site.
Mirage up against the smoke. It's Copenhagen Flames actually to put smoke in the middle. That is really interesting. They just want to close up the gap to make these cheaper weapons work out. But no, Nilo is able to sniff him out. And now Yabi is left in that triple corner. But look at Zyphon coming in from behind. No, Fizzy's there and waiting for it. Can they find anything extra though? Sapik into that sandwich position, moves across. Very similar to that previous round, to how he approached this, and they're able to close things out in a really similar fashion again. Double digits being brought up by the Young Ninjas. They look like they can keep things going as well.
Sapik might not be the reason for their entry frags, but as soon as Young Ninjas start losing players, he's the one that always gets equalizers, and you can see that being represented in the scoreline he has at the moment. I mean, he's going 18-8 for crying out loud. That's not a scoreline you should have on the T side in the first half at all. He's largely the reason why Young Ninjas are so successful here on the T side, because it seems like the Flames cannot catch a break. Look at this though, ZTR, the flashbang isn't perfect, and the CTs will be caught off guard. Pooksy, he can put that deagle to good use, but a stray bullet will be knocking out an eyeball. And as I say that, in the meantime, Young Ninjas, they've already made their way to B.
They have indeed. But has the rifle picked up here by Mirage. Going to be good enough. 3v4. The final chance to put another round into the CT side for the Flames. Can't quite spots his opponent out through the smoke. Slightly too close to it. But can he reposition his crosshair at the right time? Nade, beautifully done. Nikodos, they line shots through the smoke. Zyphon, he's the only man standing. Finds one, but what can you do against 3 players? Bloodthirsty players, if you will. 11-4 for the Young Ninjas. This is a stellar start for them on their own map pick. The odds look pretty much the same on both ends, don't they, for us? 1.8 to 1.9. It's anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, I do think that that Young Ninjas obviously did have much worse odds initially because they're not favored to win the series. But as far as this map is concerned, after Young Ninjas win it, obviously they get a massive advantage. They get 2 more maps to play against Copenhagen Flames. So you can see why the odds would start shifting in their favor. But the Flames, this best round is incredibly important.
Zyphon. Ooh, it's quick stuff coming out from Flames. Not really giving their opponents an inch. Oh, Yabi. He just bounces onto the site. And as he bounces, he trounces on his opponents. Bounce and trounce. That's a Nuke tactic. brought to you by Yabby.
But this was a very important round for the Flames. Had they lost this pistol round, that could have been potentially Young Ninjas' opportunity to waltz on over to the finish line, and that's not something they want to allow. Not a single kill coming out from the Ninjas. You can see that they want to hold on to that kit, that piece of armor on Rolf. And the Flames are still being very careful about how they approach this bomb, not allowing any ninjas, etc.
Actually like how cautious they are, really, because they know they're on a quite far back point, and the fact that they're resilient enough. I mean, I know it's the first map. It's the time of day that I believe, at least, we will see the most focused and concentrated Counter-Strike, right? Midday, really. That's about the time. Because it's not morning. It's not like they're playing at 9 AM, right? It's already 12 o'clock for them. And unless you're Faraz, of course, that loves waking up at 3 PM.
It's the good old wake up later so you can cast with more energy strategy. And it's also the good old live in a time zone that just doesn't agree.
Yeah, no, that doesn't help, does it? Absolutely not.
But Pavlos, the way the economy is structured right now in the game, and that's something like a lot of people have concerns about, is that if you can get just a little bit of momentum in the way that Copenhagen Flames are about to right now, you can quickly equalize a massive deficit. 11-4 might seem like a monster to get across, but if the Flames can just line up a couple more rounds, that's it. All they need to do is break down their economy, and it's not particularly the hardest thing in the world to do if you're on the T side, and that's why I think that the T side can often be very overpowered if you can start running away with those initial rounds. Ninjas, they haven't quite gotten an opportunity to do too much of a dent here, but Sopik, even through the smoke, he's got eyes like a hawk, puts on his night vision goggles, and he's able to secure a kill.
I'm actually interested to see what the call was that around Young Ninjas, because they all sort of trounced into that sniper's nest position, sort of circulating around it. And as soon as they got the kill, they instantly had a call. All right, fall back, that's it. One kill is enough. And we're out. I guess they knew their limits. They just tried to test them. They succeeded in getting a kill and then said, okay, that's enough. We denied one weapon. At least in my experience, there's never something in between. It's either like, go in, try and kill as many as you can, or just everyone save, you know? But obviously you can't compare Gold Nova to pro play.
Well, man, that's a very interesting statistic. Young Ninjas have converted a first kill into a round win 11 out of 11 times. That is absolutely nuts. But maybe the Flames want to change that around.
Yeah,
moving right in with a few
it's really harder
flashbangs.
to do just that. They're going to push on forwards. Rooksy, Mac 10 with 2 kills of his own, but Rolf and Sapik do deliver. Roche does find one in the process, but Young Ninjas already made this very, very expensive for them. Can they find some extra kills? The Flames circulating around this area are short to be contested as well, and I think they can catch multiple players off guard. ZTR has to fall first. Rolf, does he hold the right angle? Tries to line it up, but is unsuccessful in doing so.
Now that's the opportunity for the Ninjas to stop it right here, to continue with their streak of domination, but the scoreline is no longer as far as we saw it previously. The deficit, of course, being very easily recovered courtesy of the pistol round, and although we don't really see those traditional streaks anymore where a 3-0 is basically guaranteed, it's still something that's a nice change of pace if you do end up seeing it on the server. The Flames, now doing a similar style of play as to the Young Ninjas. They want to move right into the A bomb site, but they're doing it high and dry. They're not really using an initial smoke, and that allows Fizzy to get a free pot shot. Disallowed, just takes a few bullets for his efforts.
Spray down from Nilo, keeping things at bay. Second kill going his way as well, but he closes up the angle. What a man. The ball's on him. Who would have thought? Sapek does put a bullet straight through Huxey's eyes. Nikodos does manage to shut down Nilo, so he won't be falling just yet. Looking for some extra damage. He's got his bomb right in front of him that will try and put right back into his bag. The young ninjas, they're all around this. And you've also got the position of Sapek covered over towards the other side of T-Spawn, so there's nowhere Nikodas can go rather than just push and get kills while moving. He's actually going to go for the bomb plant. No, fake. Waits for the peek. Oh, the patience on Nikodas is brutal. 1 kill. Surely not. Not 3 kills. He's got the wraparound coming in from Sapek. Does he check ramp? And when does he do it? I think it's more of a matter of when rather than if. Being spotted. Peeks out, another kill, down to a 1-on-2. Maybe this is doable. Spots out the head, damage inflicted onto Rolf. Molly comes out, but Sapek is able to show his presence and avert the crisis.
They got very risky there at the end. Nikodas, I mean, we know how competent of an AWP player he can be, and he was starting to show some signs of that coming to life. Now the Flames are going for a timeout, and you can see just why, because this is where they're starting to feel a bit more of the pressure. They're not going to have that much money to roll around in. And Nilo completely thwarting that push does mean that the Ninjas move on 1 step closer to the finish line. But if you want to go ahead and move 1 step closer to Pinnacle, you can go to pinnacle.com/odds, where they've got a wonderful offer going on at the moment, where if you bet 10 euros as a first-time customer, you can get 10 euros back. But when you do sign up, you have to use the code CUP21 so that you do get the bonus. Go ahead and take advantage of that, and just remember that terms and conditions apply, and you should only gamble very, very responsibly.
Focus faces all around from the Danish side. Full buy across the board. I'm excited about this. No AWP into the hands of Flames, so young ninjas have managed to extinguish the boiling flame of their opponents' economy. Mirage, though, moving forwards. Fizzy knows of this, and looks like ZTI is holding an invisible weapon.
He's just giving them the finger gun special.
Yeah, he's just like, he's doing a thumbs up, but thumbs front. You know, I don't know if that even makes sense. Thumbs front.
He's just doing a bit of a tango sort of deal, but back to the game.
Back to the game indeed. But yeah, I love that the Flames are trying to approach the mid side as well. They've got plenty of players trying to contest it. They still have smokes to use, only just throwing one down again. That's actually a flash. Smoke now being brought out to the top of connector. That's a good smoke that could elude a connector and a short play. So it's important that the young ninjas sort of realize what tactic the Flames are going to go for.
Oh, ZTR, he's in for a world of hurt, and now he's given up his position because of the utility. Lots of pressure here on Nilo and Fizzy because they have to hold down the line all on their lonesome. Nilo missing a few shots. That should be the recovery from Palace as well. A flashbang comes out. Fizzy wants to make it more palatable before they move on to this round, but now that information's been conveyed that the round is lost. Their vice grip is given away. No chance here.
Time and time again, I see teams fall victim to that one smoke on the top of connector there. Because you don't really know what the play is, right? You have no information at the top of over the smoke to see if anyone's going towards shore. The mid control has been taken over due to the push from underpass and getting a boost onto the sniper's nest. At the same time, you've got people in mid sort of challenging in case someone pushes up from short to gain that extra information. So if you're on the CT side, if you're young ninjas, you have to take a gamble, right? You either take a gamble or stick to your gun, stick to your positions, and pray that you'll win on the trades. If you lose out on the trades, like the round is over, right? The site is taken over, and the numbers advantage is given away to the opponent. So, just like that, that is how the Flames were able to capitalize on that round.
It's very interesting to see that Roach has been winning out all his duels against Rolf, considering that young ninjas were so far ahead as far as the rounds were concerned. But now the Flames want to get back into it. 4 rounds for the tie, 4 rounds to get to the finish line. Both teams have a lot on stake, but there's not too much pressure just yet because, of course, this is a best of 3. You get to play the second map, and you can always turn things around. That's something that is especially true for the Flame side because this isn't their map pick, and this is something they have heavily suffered on in the past. The Flames now taking the decision to leave the bomb back and have more of a split style of play. They're... Oh, never mind, actually. I think the eventual call should be to push into A with a player being a menace and connector. And with a minute on the clock, they have plenty of time to do this, don't they?
Absolutely, and it's a matter if Xiphon does get spotted out here, but it's all down to patience for him, right? When does he sort of show his presence? Does he try and challenge early to assist his teammates to push towards ramp, or does he make his presence late and wait for the rotations of the young ninjas to come through and then go for the backstab? He's still stuck around. He's not changing his angle. It's going to be the default smoke setup, I believe, from Flames. Double smoke to cover both jungle and connector. Xiphon wins out on his trade, so he made his presence known very early. ZTR and Nilo do win on their occasions. Shut down from Droge, but he does get sprayed down as well. Dwindled down to 50 points of health as they do move across the site, but the bomb hasn't quite gotten there to get planted. It's as if no one knows who shall go for the plant. 13 seconds, the pressure is on. Yabi pushes forward from Palace, makes his presence known, and now has to go for the bomb plant. Safe plant as connector and jungle are both being covered, but it's a double stack towards Ticket Booth from the CT side.
Rolf and ZTR, they want to go for this, but they've already lost the first man before they can fire off a few shots. Nikodas and Yabi have already neutralized them. The Flames, they trickle on forwards, and they're bringing the scoreline a lot closer, and you can see that being reflected in the odds. Where it was relatively even before, it's not the same case anymore. Young Ninjas, they're starting to lose their grip. They're starting to lose the faith of the viewers.
I've started to realize that there's a reason why Flames went for the Inferno ban rather than the Mirage ban. There's a lot of more prep coming to it. Obviously, a lot of these plays that they do bring out are defaults, but they're very refined, right? We saw the movements come out from Hooksy earlier, and both of the times that they did move across the site, they were very set in stone, weren't they? It's as if he was checking every corner each of the times. The smokes were just on time. The setups look a lot cleaner.
And it's a bit surprising because, as we mentioned before, they haven't had the best success in the past 3 months in officials. Hold that thought, because Sopik might have just thrown a wrench in the works. That's an AK being recovered. And perhaps Roage gets caught out here alone. A smoke makes sure that the Flames can't simply move up connector, and it will act as a curtain to protect the Ninjas from any initial duels. A 4-man stack is being prepped up by the Young Ninja squad because they are anticipating most of the attention from the T side to come around here.
It's a good read, but when do they spot that so many players are in this location? Fizzy shows this card, but he's quickly taken out of the equation. Rolf goes for the swing. Damage inflicted, finds the finisher. Does have to reload, but Yabi's completely flashed and can't quite go for the kill just yet. Sopik peeks out, looking for the shots. It's a trade across the distance, but it's still a 1v1 endeavor. 1-for-1 endeavor, excuse me. Copenhagen Flames, they're running out of players, they're running out of weapons, and Young Ninjas are trying to pincer Nikodas in. What can he do? One shot found, turns 180 degrees, runs out of bullets, and ZTR will close down his life. It's a deagle round from Young Ninjas to put them right back into the game.
Keep in mind that that round was potentially the Flames' opportunity to equalize the numbers because the economy wasn't really looking amazing on the Young Ninja squad, and the fact that they bought up Deagles didn't help their case at all. Now that they've gotten the advantage, though, I think Young Ninjas can start to run away with a lot more with an AWP in the hands of Fizzy, an AK for ZTR, Nilo as well. The weaponry is heavily favored for the CT side, and the T's, they're going to have a world of hurt trying to get through this.
Flames tackling the A site for a third time in a row. Can they turn it to a victory this time around? ZTR snuck in a really difficult angle, but he's still alive. Nilo helps him out, keeps him alive, and Hooksy and Nicolo's trying to bring things back, but it might be too late. Rotations have come in, and ZTR is still there, still standing. How is that man still alive in that position? It's incredible. But now, Nicolo's and Hooksy, they've run out of utility. Only one smoke to bring them out, so they methodically need to push on through dry peaks every single time. They managed to get the bomb back under their command, and they rotate all the way to the back of the ramp side. Young Ninjas realize they've lost the bomb, and they've lost of their opponent's positioning. Therefore, they need to dedicate one player towards the B site.
Yeah, the Flames, they've waited in ramp long enough with no intention of actually going back to the B bomb site, that the rotations will be called in. And they've isolated this into a 2 versus 1 without actually having to do anything. It's all a case of the mind games as they trickle on forward onto the A site. And with Young Ninjas clearing out B apartments, now they know for sure this should be where the rotations start to come in. And it's all down to ZTR to hold down the line long enough so that the retake is doable. Molotov goes out, the position given up. ZTR, he's done a lot here.
He's done more than enough. Hooksy is so down low. 1v3 situation doesn't really favor him. One nade to go in his approximate direction could close his life. There's one available into the hands of Sapik, but it's a different corner. It's his bullets instead to close his opponent's life. Young Ninjas, from the hold to the retake, all of it looked up to par, and every single one of these players took a part in this whole endeavor.
I really do like how the Flames played it, though. Honestly, that was amazing. To bait out the Young Ninjas like that, but it doesn't really come to fruition. You know, ZTR had a lights out play, was able to neutralize the AWP player, was able to throw out a Molotov, and things did seem to line up for the Ninjas side. But in the meantime, if you want your payments to be quickly lined up, move smoothly from account to account, you can use Trustly, where there are no cars, no registrations, no app downloads, just quick payments. Do go ahead and check out our partners.
Yeah, and of course you can use Trustly over at Pinnacle as well to make your bet. So go ahead and do that the next time you go and use Pinnacle as well. There's also an offer at hand where if you sign up to Pinnacle with the code CUP21 as a first timer, you can get a €10 bonus upon your first €10 bet in esports. It's a difficult endeavor, though, as you look at the Flames side, as they've lost quite a few rounds, and Young Ninjas only require 2 to close things up. And considering that Flames, they go for the full investment with not much money in the bag, it means this could well be the closing mark for the Swedish side.
Yeah, now right around the corner of victory, as you mentioned, Pavlos. The Flames with very limited weaponry and Tech 9s and a Mac 10. Can they somehow deliver? Can a finishing blow come through from this? Or at least a starting uppercut, if anything, because the Flames, they've got a long way to go. The Ninjas not budging from their positions. They want to have a full 5-man retake because they realize that they'd otherwise get overwhelmed by the Tech 9s. Fizzy not revealing his cars just yet, as he's meant to be the insurance policy for the CT and Spawn. Other than that, the Flames, they just lose a player after the other.
I love how Young Ninjas recognize they were outgunning their opponents when it comes to weaponry, and they realized they didn't want to take the duels when it came to that numbers advantage early on. Therefore, they went back towards the site, allowed their opponents to head in towards A, and wait for the full-on rotation to go for the 5-man retake to win those duels when it came to those better weapons. Really good stuff from them. They don't lose a play in the process. So now this is a really difficult point to be in if you're the Flames, because Young Ninjas, they're on the verge of closing their own map pick in a very dominant fashion. And there aren't many rifles on their opponent's side.
The Ninjas are almost certain to close this one out because the Flames, they don't seem to have a lot of confidence on Mirage. And you can see that statistic powering on through the Young Ninjas, converting a kill into a round, or a first kill into a round, 15 out of 15 times. 100%, near a flawless. So entry frags are all they need, and I think Sapik has been doing just that. ZTR makes it easy pickings of Zyphon, and he even falls it down with a nade, chucks it into the hole, and That should be good enough to keep the Flames at bay. Now, with only 4 members remaining, Pavlos, we are nearing the end of map number 1. There's very little they can do when they've only got a Deagle and a MAC-10 other than the rifles. Sopik once again comes out on top in his duel, and that's something we've grown very accustomed to. It doesn't seem like he's missing his mark. Had a little something extra for breakfast today.
I think the numbers prowess into a victory is what Young Ninjas are looking to continue to be consistent in. Challenge on both sides of the map. And I don't think Young Ninjas will rotate that hard due to the fact of them having the numbers advantage. Smoke out. But they move towards the B site. Hook sees burnt down to a crisp 15 points of health, but he's got 3rd-degree burns going at him. He needs hospital work. He needs the medic. And he's shouting for it. He's falling back towards under. But his teammate falls down in the process. It's a difficult endeavor for the Flames. They look lost. They look baffled. And I think they want to press that reset button for the next few rounds. For this round, actually. To see if they can turn the next 2 maps in their favor, because this one is not going their way. Young Ninjas, they take map 1 as they take over their own map pick.
Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Pinnacle Cup II. We just witnessed the first map, Mirage, go the way of Young Ninjas up against Copenhagen Flames. Of course, it is I, Wild Deity, and I'm joined by Pavlos, who is better known as Ex-Warrior.
Thank you for the good introduction, Wild Deity. Copenhagen Flames coming into this one as the team at a disadvantage. Map won by the Young Ninjas side. Of course, the Swedish youngsters will try and prove their worth on Nuke as well. A 2-0 endeavor is definitely what they're looking for, considering that the 3rd map may favor the Flames. Moving out onto the outside area as well. ZTO has got a good angle on it as well. All by himself without any reinforcements will be difficult to fair, as they've spent 2 men towards the ramp side, but that push will come through from the Flames as Xiphon looks to lead out. Slow, methodical. Smoke has been dropped, but Xiphon puts the first blood into his hands' favors. The Flames start things off on the T side, looking to see where they can succeed, where they didn't succeed earlier on Mirage, as they do pounce onto the B side. Roge, firstly, the charge fizzy doesn't show his location thus far. Peeks on forwards, and there you have it. Yabi gets another one. They get themselves into the site simultaneously. Yabi holds his ground for a second. Nothing given over to the Young Ninja side as the Flames get themselves a 1-0 start.
I love how careful they are as well. Even though Fizzy did not reveal himself till the very end, I believe it was Rolf. No, it was Xiphon that made sure that he would check out Cubby, make sure that the bomb goes down comfortably. And you can already see the Flames starting off things with a bang. Mirage might have not been their cup of tea, but you know what? I think we're willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. They can still turn things around, still make it a 2-0 after that first map. And it would be a 2-1, but they need 2 maps in a row. Let's see how this one rolls out. ZTR, that Molotov doesn't really favor him, and that's also the audio cue being given up. Flames already making their way down, but ZTR, he's made it quite difficult. I'm a bit surprised, Pavlos. How does he not know that there's a player in hot pursuit? Because he dropped down in the vents, and there was the audio cue from the Flames as well.
Moving into it now, Xiphon. Taking Slow control over Secret, moving onwards. Fizzy, he's got that lineup held as well. ZTR and pop through vents is required to do so. But again, a methodical approach from the Flames. This time with the numbers at disadvantage, they need to make it work. They've realized they've given this control, the Heaven control, over to Mirage. However, they do hide away from it in the process. This does really make things difficult for the Young Ninjas side. Where do they hold, really, right? Where do they hold? Do they try and spend forces to the outside of A, or do they try and put men onto the B side, knowing they've given away outside control? But no, they're going to move straight onto the A side, and it's a really difficult angle from which they can check from. It's free for the taking. They've realized there's good call coming in through Roege, and now the rest of them will push on forwards. They take a site, and not losing a single player in the process. Although they lost one earlier, the bomb goes down, and it's going to have to be a 5-man retake for the Young Ninjas.
Yeah, do they even go for this, though? Because that's still an opportunity at getting an additional round. And I think unless they can find the first frag early on, they're not even going to opt for this. The bomb already having ticked halfway down, and with this Molotov impeding their progress, there's no way they go for this. The call must have been made. Only hoping for the exit frags, and that's a good decision, because maybe they can get away with a Galil or an AK or something of that sort.
Let's see if they're actually able to do so. Yabi, you got to stay true, but the site of Nuke is just too large. They can even hide into the corner of it by the side. Therefore, not challenged, not drop a weapon. And the Flames, albeit losing the first kill, they're still able to convert it into a victory. 2-0 start for the Danes.
Palos, this is one of the storylines that we expected, though, right? Because the Flames already having to start off on a map that is arguably one of their worst, they still gave ninjas the Young Ninjas a run for their money, and you can already see things turning around. Nuke seems to be a lot more comfortable. You can see a lot fewer signs of hesitation as far as the players are concerned. Although Yabi will be taking a few bullets to the back. He does get chased down in vents, and he will be there to intercept. He's not going to fall for it a second time, because if I recall correctly, in the previous round as well, ZTR tried to get up to his shenanigans in vents, but this should mostly be a throwaway round. Other than that, the Ninjas just want to hit the reset button, carry on over to the third round, and maybe they can do something off of that. But Nuke, it is not a stellar start if you're a Swedish fan.
It doesn't look like it. It's a 3-0 convergence, right? Just as we saw Young Ninjas take the start off over on Mirage. It was a 4-0 endeavor, actually, at the beginning, before the Flames managed to have a say in the matter. Actually, the greatest lead they had initially was a 7-1 lead, right? Then it got shut down quickly to a 7-3, but still. The Flames, it's likely they get themselves a 3-0 here, and I guess the odds previously predicted, if Nuke is won, then they've got a good chance of shutting this whole series in their favor. So yeah, the Young Ninjas don't want that, but it's the first round to come out from either side to see how this pace of this game will ensue.
Early nade has been deployed by the Flames, but the Molotovs being thrown out by the Young Ninjas make sure that no early aggression will be made. It's not like the Flames had the intention of doing that regardless. Playing a much slower style of Counter-Strike now instead of going for any pushes. They just want to make sure that if the Ninjas push, they will be punished for it. Still have plenty of time remaining. Recollecting the bomb before they start to stick to their guns, make a decision. And I like how both of these teams are at a stalemate, because the Copenhagen Flames, they're playing a slow style of play, but they're also being greeted by a passivity-oriented approach that the Young Ninjas have set up. And these outside smokes will mean that Young Ninjas now quickly have to attribute some resources outside, where the Flames don't have any intentions of actually going there.
Flash out, Sapik. Does he hold the ground correctly? A lot of pressure onto Rolf, but he's able to find two. No access given to the Flame side. Only Roege runs away with one. But is that really going to be good enough? Another shot through the wall. Nicodas is down low, but Yabi finds one, giving them space to work with. Peeks through, lowers this cross end, is able to find one. Nilo, on top of the silo, gets one of his own, and it's down to Yabi in a 1v2 endeavor. Peek coming out, nearly the headshot for him, but no. Fizzy says a no to the matter as he puts a bullet straight through his heart.
So Young Ninjas have actually turned it around as soon as they've got their hands on weapons. That's a nice change of pace to see. And honestly, I felt like the Copenhagen Flames would have had a similar start to Nuke as the Young Ninjas did to Mirage. Or did on Mirage, rather. So lost all of my English skills. No grammar available. No sorry. The Flames initially challenging outside. The AWP not being given an angle to work with. Just a little bit of damage being exchanged. Nikodas being scraped by a bullet. But now, the terrorist side still can't really find much of an angle to work with. The initial utility being deployed by Young Ninjas makes sure that no early progress will be made. And this is why they're changing their avenue. Heading over to outside instead, throwing out double smokes for Redcon. But they're going to have to watch out for ZTR. He can easily intercept one and then tuck himself in.
Look at the movement though. CTR sticks around and through the smoke. Has Hooksy spotted him? It seems like he's aware of this position. Ooh, it's a standoff. Incendiary thrown, having to move out of bait, but now he's shown his card. Yabi finds two in the process across the map. The ace site is what they're looking for. What have you done, Yabi? You've just disintegrated Young Ninjas, and while they win their trades towards Secret, Yabi continues to put bullets through his opponent's heads. Man, Copenhagen Flames in a matter of seconds give themselves another victory.
How was that so convincing from the Flames? In that previous round, it was incredibly back and forth, and Young Ninjas seemed like they had their hands firmly on the steering wheel, that they would be able to bring it right back, make it 3-3 and whatnot, but it's not the